In this video, I will compare and contrast two ideas, post-labor economics and an economic bill of rights. The knowledge I'm working with came primarily from David Shapiro's Post-Labor Economics Manifesto and Marianne Williamson's 21st Century Economic Bill of Rights proposal. Both ideas resonate strongly with me, and I think they complement each other very well. With these two concepts, I believe we can create a new social contract, one that works for this new era of job automation, a new deal for a new age. From my understanding, the main assumption of post-labor economics is that human labor is being decoupled and devalued from economic growth due to AI and robotics. Machines replacing human workers is not new. History shows us that job automation is a natural occurring product of technological progress. According to the tech billionaires and their dancing monkeys, knowledge work or cognitive labor will be automated by what they call agentic AI.
They should just rename Davos Agent Palooza. It's just everything is agents. Everyone's talking about they've got agents, they're coming agents. You call this virtual collaborators. You have a different term for that.
So agents are used for anything from Clippy to to like. I press the button on this AI system and it writes a complete app for me and founds a company or something. I think what we have in mind is somewhat closer to the second one. Our version of this is virtual collaborators, and you talk to it, you give it a task. And maybe it's a task it does over like a day where, you say, we're going to implement this product feature. And what that means, it's writing some code, testing the code, deploying that code to some test surface, talking to coworkers, writing design docs, writing Google Docs, writing Slack, sending emails to people. And just like a human, the model goes off and does a bunch of those things and then checks in with you every once in a while. So I would think of it as an agent. I would think of it as like an autonomous virtual collaborator that acts on your behalf on a very long time scale and that you check in with every once in a while. And you think of it as having all the piping, all the inputs and outputs of a human operating virtually.
So that's what's coming for knowledge work. And they also say that physical labor or manual work will be automated by AI-powered robots. It seems they really want to scare us into thinking that this will happen very quickly. Here are some clips of CEOs and tech billionaires saying loud and proud that they want to take your jobs away.
Yes, our head of engineering is amazing. Came to me about 3 weeks ago and said, we've been deploying this technology now over the last basically 2 years. And we're writing code, delivering technology and capabilities faster than we've ever done. And we've got tens of thousands of engineers. We have 75,000 people total. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't want any more engineers this year. I'm like, what did you say? I don't want any more engineers this year. I'm like, you've never said that before. He goes, I know, but we are just in the last year 30% more productive and we're doing great. And we just want to focus and get all this done. And I'm like, wow, this is a moment where not only am I going to hire less customer support engineers, because I didn't really finish my story on that customer support, which is that there's 9,000 customer support engineers. I don't need as many of them anymore. And I can rebalance them into new areas in the company. And software engineers, the same thing. So in these key areas, of running a big company, which is what we're doing at Salesforce, we're able to rebalance our workforce based on the evolution of artificial intelligence. And this is very exciting for a CEO.
We'll lose jobs. Yeah. Many new jobs will be created, I think much better jobs. We feel a responsibility to educate society as we see it. We'll be right about some things, wrong about others, and to be as good as we can at being stewards of this technology. But not everyone's going to like all of the impacts, but this is coming. This is this is a scientific achievement of humanity that is going to get embedded in everything we do.
The nature of work is changing. The nature of employment is going to change. And from a stock perspective, if you're in the Fortune 500, if you're an S&P 500 company, if you're in the Dow 30, right? If you're one of the bigger companies, you already know this. And in talking to a lot of these big companies, they know their workforces. And so when you start getting that massive amount of disruption in employment, what do? The whole nature of employment is going to change. There aren't manufacturing jobs coming back. There aren't more coal mining jobs coming back. No matter what you do to the EPA, a lot of these jobs are going to be gone. Now, there's still physical things. If you do infrastructure, you can kind of, buy some time, right? Spend more, get temporary jobs to build roads, build bridges, which is all fine and good, right? I think you can get a return on much of those things. But you're going to have to recognize that there are going to be more people out of work.
A very strong version of these capabilities will come this year. and it may be in the first half of this year.
So let's talk about the elephant or agent in the room, which is that's going to affect human work, right? You just described a lot of jobs that we have people doing.
Yes. So I generally separate this out into short term and long term. In the short term, we've seen technological disruption of labor many times in the past. And I think in the short term, in my kind of time compressed world, short term is maybe a year or 2 years or maybe 3. We've on that time scale, we I won't say we have a perfect solution, but we've seen before technological disruption of labor, and I think there it's important to think in terms of workers being adaptable, in terms of taking advantage of comparative advantage. There are different ways to deploy the technology, and we are thinking about that as we design this virtual collaborator. Again, I'm not going to lie to you. There's a brutally efficient market here, right? That's a short term. In the long term, I feel very strongly that I don't know exactly when it'll come. I don't know if it'll be 2027. I think it's plausible it could be longer than that. I don't think it will be a whole bunch longer than that, when AI systems are better than humans at almost everything, better than almost all humans at almost everything, and then eventually better all humans than everything. Even robotics, we make good enough AI systems, they'll enable us to make better robots. And so when that happens, we will need to have a conversation at places like this, right? At places like this event about, how do we organize our economy, right? How do humans find meaning, right? There are a lot of assumptions we've made when humans were the most intelligent species on the planet, that are going to be invalidated by what's happening with AI. And I think the only good thing about it is that we'll all be in the same boat. I'm actually afraid of the world where 30% of human labor becomes fully automated by AI, and the other 70%. That's going to cause this just incredible, class war between the groups that have been and the groups that haven't been. If we're all in the same boat, it's not going to be easy, but I actually feel better about it, because we're going to have to sit down and say, whoa, it's not like we're randomly picking every third person and saying you're useless. We're all in the same boat. We've recognized that we've reached the point as a technological civilization where the idea, there's huge abundance and huge economic value, but the idea that the way to distribute that value is for humans to produce economic labor, and this is where they feel their sense of self-worth. Once that idea gets invalidated, we're all going to have to sit down and figure it out. And I'm not going to lie, my true belief is that is coming.
Now, I don't know how quickly this is actually going to happen, but we shouldn't place bets with history, so job automation is coming, and we have to be prepared for it. A post-labor economy should move away from centralized power, which is the current structure of our economy. Huge megacorporations that control the market and public policy. With this type of centralized system, all the wealth and value created gets siphoned straight to the top. We shift away from oligarchy into a decentralized economy by breaking up monopolies, improving information transparency, incentivizing local ownership, and building decentralized infrastructure to mitigate the concentration of power. Think of having local businesses or cooperatives for goods and services, having open source software and AI tools, and renewable energy grids. Economic agency is a key principle in Shapiro's framework for a post-labor economy. The 6 pillars that ensure economic agency are time sovereignty, financial authority, knowledge access, community power, mobility freedom, and bargaining power. Power begets more power. We can't get rid of greed, but we can weaken the ability of greedy people and corporations to tread on the dignity of the poor and working class. Now, I appreciate Shapiro's policies and heuristic recommendations, but we need something more aggressive, something with more teeth to secure people's economic agency in a world where human labor is being devalued. We need to make economic agency as important as free speech. And how do we do that? Well, we constitutionalize it. This is where the 21st century Economic Bill of Rights comes in. Marianne's Economic Bill of Rights centers humanity above the economic machine. Each policy revolves around giving individuals more economic agency. Now, it does not have to be this exact 10-point plan. The main principle is that the Economic Bill of Rights will act as the foundation that protects the people's economic freedom and autonomy. If we are heading into a future where most, if not all, human labor becomes economically irrelevant, then I don't see the problem with giving people these positive rights of economic freedom. The United States is obscenely wealthy. There is no shortage of money in this country. The problem is that the wealth is concentrated among a few people at the very top. And our system is even more oligarchic now, thanks to Donald Trump, who sells himself to the highest bidder, and Elon Musk, the tech billionaire who wants to put chips in your brain and replace you with AI. The redistribution of wealth is necessary to stop the hoarding of prosperity. Here's where UBI comes in. In my opinion, universal basic income is the first step in improving income inequality and economic agency. I also believe UBI will help rebuild the trust that's been lost in American society. A better way to think of UBI is not taxing the rich and giving it to the poor, though I don't mind stealing from the super rich. There are far worse crimes out there than taking chump change from a billionaire. A citizen's dividend is a better way of looking at basic income policies. You are a stakeholder in this country, and these big tech companies got rich off your attention, your data, and your dollar. So instead of thinking that it's the big tech companies and the CEOs of these companies creating all the value, while the state just takes their money and gives it to you, the citizen, the truth is that value is created collectively, and we all deserve a cut of that money. You and I, and everyone in this country, gets a dividend from the value created by machines and AI. I want to wrap this video up by saying that I do appreciate David Shapiro's framework. However, he is primarily focused on the architecture of how the new economy will operate. It doesn't say much about how to protect citizens from the very powerful and greedy people that currently control the machines. That's why I really love Marianne's Economic Bill of Rights. Through an Economic Bill of Rights, we can enshrine our economic agency into the Constitution. If we are going to live in this brave new world where human labor is rendered obsolete due to technological progress, then I believe it is our duty, our God-given responsibility, to protect humanity from being enslaved by technology. Just like we have a First Amendment that protects your freedom of speech, we will have an amendment that protects your freedom of economic agency. I want to leave you with this: the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights and my version of the First Amendment of the Economic Bill of Rights. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The First Economic Amendment. To ensure life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all, the people of this nation are entitled to a basic income equivalent to a living wage. No state or enterprise can abridge access to these finances, or abridge access to basic services of education, healthcare, housing, and civic engagement. Well, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.